This is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. And today I am thrilled to be speaking with an incredible visual artist, the one and only Stephen Grossman. Hello, Stephen, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you, Will?
Oh, Stephen, doing so much better now that we're finally talking. I had the most amazing time researching all that you do. And I can't believe that within 5 minutes, I'm going to try to get it all in. But first and foremost, you are in your studio in Connecticut with some of your work behind you.
Correct.
Talk to me, Stephen, a little bit about, I want to go in, lean into young Stephen. When you realized that you loved visual art and that you possibly saw yourself imbuing your own POV into that world.
When did that first happen? Is that what you're asking?
When did that all happen for you?
Well, actually, it was kind of, I always knew it was there, but I was probably just very, not very well directed as a young person and kind of all over the place. So I took a pretty circuitous route to actually becoming an artist. I always drew and made stuff as a little kid and loved doing that. I never really thought it would be something I would do, but I was always interested in architecture. And so I got detoured from architecture after I graduated high school, and I went to school for engineering because a high school guidance counselor told me that there were more jobs in engineering. So after getting a degree in engineering and working at that for a year, I realized I didn't enjoy it. And I went back to school and became an architect. And I went to architecture school at Cooper Union, which was an amazing place. And because of that specific education, it kind of rekindled my interest in making stuff that wasn't necessarily architecture. And over a number of years, I just gradually started painting and making sculpture and doing other endeavors more and more, and ultimately leaving the profession of architecture entirely and becoming a full-time architect as an adult. So it was a pretty long way around, actually.
Well, I also love, though, the fact that somehow, thank goodness, you landed on architecture, because it seems to be, whether it's conscious or not, a beautiful foundation for a lot of your art, because not only obviously are you drawing and painting and using materials on top of other materials, and I want to let the audience know, for more on this incredible artist, you can read more about him in the links below, but also, Stephen, your ability to create through your sculpture work and your three-dimensional, four-dimensional work, that I can only imagine having those tools from the architecture days really help you out there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't be where I was now if it hadn't been for that education and doing that work too.
I'm curious as well, Stephen, and excuse me if I'm not using the correct, visual artist lingo,
Sure.
but your ability to see how you're able to use different materials for one project that perhaps have never been used before. Where does that sense of curiosity and play come from?
I think well, a lot of it's just experimentation. So just trying stuff out and seeing what kind of works. Some of it's just working with what I'm capable of working with. So, like recently I've made some sculptures in corrugated cardboard just as kind of quick studies, but they actually end up being kind of interesting in and of themselves for that material. And some of it is also informed by other work that I've seen, whether by people in, historical precedent or people working today. So, it's just life, absorbing life, I guess.
Well, I also really love your use of color and different material, whether it be ink and oil and paint. I'm just curious as well, when you were able to realize, the different materials that you do use I'm gonna take a beat here, because I'm just I'm literally, while I'm talking with you, Stephen, looking at the body of your work. And again, I think people their breath will be taken away once they see the landscape of what you do. I guess my main question is, before you sit down to create something, whether it's a painting, a drawing, a sculpture, or an idea, where do you find you get your most inspiration from?
Wow, that's a hard question. I think I guess, ideally it's from the work that I had already been doing before that. And sometimes, well, there's a variety of things. So that's really good when that works, because there's like continuity. But every so often, something will come to me in a dream or in a moment, like just, I don't, looking out the window and the light is shining a certain way, or going for a hike in the woods, those kind of life experiences. But that's not, I mean, my work isn't really based in those kind of things. So it's a very removed thing when I say that. Like, people may not be able to see that in the actual work, but it is something that happens. But definitely, sometimes, it doesn't happen often, but it's great when it does. I will wake up and I've had like kind of a little elusive vision. Like, I can never really hold on to what it fully was, but in the best scenario, I get just enough of it so I can then begin to work on it in the studio and give it some new life.
Well, listen, my friend, I cannot wait for the audience to see more of your work with the links below, because the way that you've just described the fact that you get some inspiration from your dreams, when I'm even looking at some of your different series of drawings or paintings, they sometimes seem to be a variation on a theme within a dreamscape type of world. And again, it's hard to describe, but I really need the audience to please check you out. And Stephen Grossman, I'm also so excited you're coming on board this incredible new app, FENIX360. And like I told you off camera, I've been very fortunate to speak with over 1,200 artists this past year. Many of the visual artists on board, we have over 250, and many of them are from the East, in Japan, China, and Singapore. So to meet a visual artist like yourself, we do obviously have an amazing array of visual artists from the United States, but none quite like you, my friend. And it is really nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful to meet you too. And I really appreciate your appreciation for my work.
Hey, I'm from New York, and I saw that you had a gallery, an exhibition at my father's college, St. Francis in Brooklyn. I'm like, how can I not like this guy?
That's great. Nice connection.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, take care.